Good morning, my beautiful budding bakers. It is Tuesday and we are ready to rock and roll this morning. So what are we doing? What are we doing today? We are going on the same theme of healthy vibes. We're doing delicious, savory brown scones. Fiona, I'm thinking of you. I'm always thinking of you. So to start off with, very easy to remember. I have scaled this recipe down. So those of you who don't have loads of flour, you have a little bit of flour, phantasmagorical. So we're starting with 100 grams of whole wheat flour, 100 grams of plain flour. So in it goes. 100 grams of plain flour. And then we have got, give it a bit of a mix. Mixed. Too early in the morning, I suppose, lads and lasses. So we have got our flour blend mixed, right? Before we do anything else, we are putting in a 1/4 teaspoon of bread soda. Now, a 1/4 teaspoon of bread soda may not sound like an awful lot, but bread soda is much stronger than baking powder. So with a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, that would be the equivalent of nearly a teaspoon of baking powder. It is very strong. Bread soda is also very fast acting. The minute that hits anything alkaline, it'll rise like these beautiful mountains. So we have got brown sugar, brown flour, we have got our plain flour, we have got our 1/4 teaspoon of bread soda, in goes a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we have got only a little bit of butter. You can drop this to 25 grams. I do like the flavour, it enriches the brown scone. In goes 50 grams of butter. And we're going to show me the money. Now I know I've done the coconut scones way back in series 3, episode 59. And we've also done the traditional scones. These are the scones that I did way back in the Ursulines when my home economics teacher, "'Cause you never make a baker, you've got heavy hands." Heavy hands, I tell you, heavy hands, said my sister, who was quite smug at the time because her beautiful brown scones were divine and mine were like a lethal weapon. So one of the things I would advise when you are baking is treat every dough very delicately. You do not need to beat the living daylights out of bakes. The lighter you are regarding the handling of many baked goods and pastry, etc., you will have fingertips as light as an angel. So again, all I'm doing as well is I'm incorporating air as I'm bringing it up. This butter was softer butter as opposed to hard butter. And again, you're bringing up the deliciousness, the air, incorporating the air, and making sure that all the butter is blended together, blend together. Blend all your beautiful. Now, controversially, I am putting in a tablespoon of brown sugar. There's a slight caramelly, hinty nuttiness to these scones, and it is down to the brown sugar. If you don't use the brown sugar, my granny used to use black treacle, which is sort of a molasses. So you'd have a tablespoon of treacle if you were doing your treacle. And next comes the prized beauty. That is buttermilk. So 100 mils of buttermilk. So it is relatively easy to remember if you think of 100, 100, 100. So you've got 100 whole wheat, you have got 100 of plain flour, 100 of mils of buttermilk for your whole wheat brown scones. Now I'm not adding any egg, it's just the buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, you can use ordinary milk, but if you're going to use your ordinary milk, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, you need to leave it sit 5-10 minutes until it begins to separate and looks a little as if it's about to curdle. That is perfect for this mix. In goes our 100 mils. Clean as you go. And then in goes our lovely icky sticky dough. And we have the most divine scone mix. Boom! Clean up. Now you can add a tiny bit more buttermilk or even a tiny bit of milk just to bring all those crumbs together. No, I'm going to put that to the side because I should have added a tiny bit more of the buttermilk. But I didn't have any more buttermilk left. And we're down to the last part of milk in the house. That's for my coffee. So, now, this, as I said, is for a very small batch of scones, but I'll show you the size. I am cutting these into squares. The reason I'm cutting into squares, I don't know what it is. Ever since I was a tot, my granny used to do her scones in squares. She never believed in the round because it was always square. You can see how thick they are. So 2 finger thick for your brown scones. And I'm just shaping them into a square, just getting nostalgic with my granny because again, these are traditional recipes. I want to keep these traditional recipes. These are fantastic. Pass them on to another generation to generation. People, if they haven't been baking, what's brilliant about it now is you're all baking. You're all remembering all these old traditional bakings or baking recipes. So I am doing all these old traditionals in the hope that you will pass these on, and then we'll have a generation of amazing long little baby scones. So we have our tray. Tiny sprinkling of flour. I'm not even preparing this with greaseproof or anything. And in goes these little beautiful little square scones. These will bake for 200, which is quite high, 15 to 20 minutes, but it depends on how big or how large or how small you make your scones. This is a single batch. You can certainly double up the batch. I'm only doing 4 because I would possibly eat all 8 if I was to do another double batch easily by my own. Now, all I'm getting next is a tiny bit of egg wash, just to give this glow and this beautiful golden hue. And it's also fabulous for putting on my sprinkles for my bakes. So again, I'm just doubling up because I want that lovely golden hue, followed by a selection of goodies. So I am putting one with a tiny bit of sesame seeds. So sesame seeds have that lovely crunch. They have that lovely sort of oriental aftertaste. Then we have got poppy seeds, and again, some poppy seeds. And we have some sugar crystals. These are fantastic because when they bake, if you were to sprinkle these with caster sugar or granulated sugar, they have a tendency to burn. These are fantastic sugar crystals. I actually got them in Lidl. Now, it would have been last Christmas, so keep an eye on, but you can actually buy them as well online, but they're like sugar crystals. They're absolutely beautiful. I'm going to do 2 of those because my mother is very partial to the crunch on top because they are so yummy. You can replace the 50 grams of butter also by reducing it to 25 grams of butter. You can introduce a low-fat butter if you wish. I do feel that the flavour is lost when you do the plastic butter, lads. The real butter makes a huge difference and it's not a huge calorific count. So I'm putting this in 200 degrees with hot oven, 15 to 20 minutes, and they will be divine. Stay with me, stay with me. Down in they go. And coming back, I have done some this morning. So they're quite large, even though they're quite small when they go into the oven. They actually rise quite a lot. Now the other thing I will do, and I'll put up the photograph, is I tend to have a slather of smoked salmon on top of the tiny dash of creme fraiche and a sprinkling of chopped chives. You can also put your thyme, your chives in the dry mix. Even rosemary is absolutely gorgeous. So this is where you can get, again, experiment and just have a play. You can, Jude, thinking of you, chili flakes again. In goes the scone mix, that dry mix. You got a hint of chili, and then even better, rebel chili relish with cheese is absolutely divine. So lads, this is what we're doing today. Healthy, wholemeal brown scones in the oven, 15 minutes. See you tomorrow at 10.